Numbers could usually be expressed in three forms: fractions, decimals, and percentages. They have different identities, but they also have a lot in common. Today, we're going to have a look at them. So let's start with the first one, fractions. A fraction represents parts as a whole. The formula of a fraction is split into two parts. The top part is the numerator. It shows us how many parts we have or how many parts we consider. The bottom part is the denominator. It shows us how many parts as a whole is divided into. Also, you would see a horizontal line between the numerator and the denominator. This thing acts the same as the division, meaning the numerator divides the denominator. For an example of this, take 1 over 4. 1 is the numerator, as we only consider one part of it. 4 is the denominator, meaning the whole is split into 4 equal parts. Usually, there are 3 types of fractions. The first one, proper fractions, refers to fractions with a numerator smaller than the denominator. For example, take 5 as the numerator and 7 as the denominator. As 5 is smaller than 7, 5 over 7 is a proper fraction. The second one, improper fractions, means that the numerator is larger than the denominator. Just take the same example, 7 as the numerator and 5 as the denominator. As 7 is larger than 5, 7 over 5 is an improper fraction. The third one, mixed fraction, is a fraction with a whole number and a proper fraction. For example, instead of only having 2 as a numerator and 5 as a denominator, we also have 1 standing next to it. This means that the value of this is 1 plus 2 over 5, not multiply and not subtraction. Just to make it clear, if you want to convert a whole number into a fraction, remember, just multiply the value of the denominator with the whole number. Afterwards, put the product of it as the numerator and put the denominator you used to multiply it as its denominator. For example, the number 1 can be converted into 1 over 1, 2 over 2, 3 over 3, and so on. General formula shown as x over x, where x could literally be everything. Another example, the number 2 can be converted into 2 over 1, 4 over 2, 6 over 3, and could also go on. General formula shown as 2x over x, where x is also anything. There's enough info on fractions, but what about its relative, decimal? Decimals is just another way to represent fractions, especially when it comes to denominators that is a power of 10. A decimal also contains 2 parts. The whole number part refers to the numbers on the left of the decimal point. It is an integer part of the number, whether it is positive or negative. The fractional part refers to the number on the right side. Every number represents a fraction, and obviously a decimal point in the middle to separate both parts apart. Just saying, every digit after the decimal point has a value that represents a proper fraction. It relies on the base 10 system, meaning that the first digit represents a fraction with a denominator of 10. The second one represents 100, and so on. Take the example of this. 3 is the first digit after the decimal point. We call it tenths, and the value of this digit is 3 out of 10, as the digit 3 will be divided by 10. 4 is the second digit, which is referred as hundredths, with a value of 4 out of 100, as the digit is divided by 100. 5 is the third digit, known as the thousandth, with a value of 5 over 1000, as the digit is divided by 1000. If we want to make this decimal a fraction, we just have to add the values of the digits on the right of the decimal point up. In this case, we add 3 out of 10, 4 out of 100, and 5 out of 1000. We make every fraction the same denominator. As to how, consider watching the video on the top corner. We will get 300 out of 1000, 40 out of 1000, and 5 out of 1000, which gets us 345 out of 1000. Take the whole number 2 up, putting both of them next to each other, and we are done. The answer will be 2 and 345 out of 1000. After this, we go to the last part, percentages. It is a way of expressing a number out of 100, simply because the word percent means 100 a long time ago. As a result of that, whenever we convert any number into a percentage, we multiply the number by 100, adding a percentage at the back of the number, and you're done. So for example, 2 out of 5 as a percentage is 40%. It originally means 2 parts out of 5 parts, but as we need to find the parts we consider when the total parts becomes 100, we can multiply both numerator and denominator by 20. This will make us with 40 parts out of 100 parts, meaning it will become 40%. This has the same ratio of 2 over 5, so actually nothing has changed, just its form has changed slightly. Now we know all three of them. What about its conversions? I told you from the start that these three could transform itself into each other, and now we will see how. From fractions to decimals, we divide the numerator by the denominator. It's that simple. For decimals to fractions though, we put in the decimal number as a numerator and put at 1 as a denominator. We multiply both numerator and denominator by any powers of 10 until the numerator is an integer. For decimals to become percentages, we multiply it by 100%. Same thing happens for percentages to decimals, divided by 100%. Remember to multiply with the percentage sign, and when you divide it, the sign will eventually disappear. For percentages to fractions, we put the percentage as the numerator, remove its percentage sign, and put the denominator as 100. We simplify the number if possible, and we will get it as a fraction. For fractions to percentages, we divide the numerator by the denominator. We multiply it by 100% and the job is done. From this, I think you guys see it. Fractions seemed to be tougher than the others. And maybe because it actually is. And here are 2 videos and it should guide your way through this confusing shit, fractions.